Hello.
Hello, how are you, little person?
I am all right. How are you?
Life is good. Finished up a hard day of work. Tired.
Same. So today is True Crime Tuesday,
Okay.
and we are talking about a topic that you selected.
I did. You expanded said topic. It's gonna be big.
I did not expand said topic. Said topic was the size it was when you selected it. The topic is the topic you selected was Charles Manson. Now, the prompt I gave you was what was the first true crime that you remember? And you said that it was the Manson murders.
Mm-hmm. I was a very little tyke when all this was going on, but it was on the TV set, and I remember hearing about it. Now, I didn't know all what was going on, but that wasn't
Because
what you asked me.
it was like two.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So it was a very interesting thing. Because Charles Manson, he looked wild. I mean, the 70s looked different than other eras. And he had all that hand stuff and but then that wasn't just weird. Now, where I come from over here in Holiness, we had a haircut, but everybody did.
well, you were also just not a demented white man,
No.
and you
Or
didn't know none.
right. And then the thing was he was a musician. And anytime you're a musician and you're not going into the office, so you kind of can go a little differently. You can look a little differently. But I mean, the world has changed. You can go to the bank now with purple hair, as long as it's neat. I don't think they care anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, you chose the topic of Charles Manson, and you claimed that I expanded it. I just want to talk about one of the victims today because it's already an expensive case.
Okay. Okay,
If you
let's.
don't want to do that, we can just
No,
go
I don't have
straight
any
to the.
issue with that. I just, I'm gonna be reading and talking and reading and thinking.
That's what we both gonna be doing.
All right, let's get her going.
So we're gonna talk about the most known of the Manson victims.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon Tate,
Right.
born Sharon Marie Tate, died Sharon Marie Tate Polanski.
Mm-hmm.
She was born January 24th,
Mm-hmm.
1943.
Right.
And she passed away on August 9th, 1969 at the age of 26,
Right. A
which,
baby.
yeah, is younger than the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just like, dang,
Right.
that's a child.
Right. Right. Then she was just surrounded by the wrong people, it appears to me.
Yeah. I mean, not even really. We'll get into it. Do you remember anything about Sharon Tate as far as like her acting career? Like I said, I know you were two when she died, but they did a lot of
Right.
reruns and stuff.
Sure they did, because I grew up in an era where they were just they did reruns and lots of movies and stuff. And now you can't even keep up because it's so much content now that you can't keep up. But I don't remember very much at all about Sharon Tate. Sharon Tate. I remember hearing her name. I remember hearing Roman Polanski's name, and of course Charles Manson, all being connected together. But as far as her Golden Globe and the Valley of the Dolls, that kind of stuff, I really just didn't know a lot about.
Me either, because I was not born.
You were not born, and I was very little.
Yeah. So she was in a lot of stuff. She was in the Beverly Hillbillies, like my mom just said, the Valley of the Dolls, the Eye of the Devil.
Now was she? I was a Beverly Hillbillies girl back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who was she? Was she our favorite girl?
The sister?
Yeah.
No,
Ellie Mae. Is that who she was?
she was not Ellie Mae Clampett. She was the secretary.
Oh, the Lord,
The what's the lady? Because it was
Janet Trago.
the lady boss. Because
Yeah,
there was the man boss, and then there was the lady boss, I
right.
believe.
Yeah, they stayed on the lady boss's nerves.
Right. And she was the secretary of the
Her.
lady boss, I think.
Uh-huh.
I vaguely, like I said, I wasn't born for any of this, but
Right, but I don't
reruns.
really remember her, but I remember the lady boss, and I'm looking at a picture of her right now, and I cannot call her name.
Yeah, that's all right. She's not important. We talking about Sharon. So anyway, Sharon met Roman Polanski on a set. Obviously, he was a director. She was an actress.
Sure.
They fell in like and got married, as most people did back in the day.
Right.
And at the time of her death, she was 8.5 months pregnant. So rest in peace to the baby as well.
Right.
I don't think he had a name, but rest in peace.
And according to that little movie that I watched today, that she tried to get that baby here, but
Well, you know,
when
when you're a mother, you do your best to make sure your baby all right. She did her best. She was murdered.
Yeah, the wrong people. They didn't care.
Right.
Well, they were sick. They were sick.
So the thing about the murder was that they weren't even out to murder Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski. Mm-hmm. They were out to marry what's his name, Lord? Let me find it. I got a lot on my mind today. Terry Melcher.
That's who was, he was obsessed kind of with Terry Melcher.
So what happened was Charles Manson, like you said, was a musician.
Wow, you got noise.
It's just fire trucks barely alerting and just driving down the street slow. Like, what do you, if it's a fire, get there.
Hurry up.
Like the sirens were low anyway.
I didn't know they could turn them down.
Me either. But that's on my nerves. Like, girl, because if it's an emergency, turn them up and speed down the road.
Yeah.
But if it's not an emergency, don't have them low. Just turn them off. I don't understand. No. Anyway, so the thing about it was that Charles Manson had reached out to Terry Melcher for some music, not really advice, but he wanted Terry to produce some of his music. Right.
He wanted to be signed and get his music out to the world.
Which, okay, good, cool.
Okay, because that doesn't sound crazy. That sounds
But right. When Terry told him no, he wasn't going to be a part of, no, it wasn't even that. It was Charles told Terry about Helter Skelter. You know, I'm not a Beatles fan personally, but Helter Skelter is a Beatles song. I've never heard it, to be honest with you. It just sounds demonic to me, but.
Well, and see, for me, you know, I am a Beatles fan, but Helter Skelter to me is Charles Manson. So I never did embrace that song.
I never embraced the Beatles, so I can't really give you a lot on them. But they had a song called Helter Skelter that Charles would play religiously over and over and over, trying to decode what he thought were secret messages.
Decode a non-coded message.
I mean, listen, I don't know if it was coded or not. I ain't never heard the song. But he went and told Terry Melcher, hey, this song has these codes and blah, blah, blah. Terry said, no.
Dude. Right.
That's not That's not what's going on. And so Charles got big mad at Terry and decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send the girls and a guy to go and murder Terry and everybody in his house, which Candace Bergen was going with Terry at the time. Like, that's my girl. We love Candace.
You're glad she wasn't there.
So glad. I'm glad Terry wasn't there. I'm
Right.
not glad Sharon and them were
No,
there.
because she didn't deserve that. She wasn't in that.
She was not involved. Nobody at that house. Nobody at the house was involved.
Mm-mm.
But they get there.
And they don't know nobody because they've been sheltered. They don't know one person from another person. They just knew the house. Well, knew a house.
Right. And it was the house. It was the house because Terry and Candace and some other musician that I can't remember right now. He ain't important. He lived. He wasn't even at the house. They previously lived at that house. And then Sharon and Roman rented the house after they moved out, after Candace.
When they weren't in it, didn't need it anymore.
They rented it. And so Charles Charles didn't even go. The girls went over there, and the guy, I don't know their names.
Yeah,
they went over there thinking we about to kill Terry Melcher, and his associates.
Whoever's there, yeah.
But they wasn't there. So y'all just done killed this pregnant woman and four other people.
Because that's 2 counts.
Right. The baby, the pregnant woman, Abigail Folgers of the best part of waking up coffee was murdered. There was an 18-year-old young man that was murdered, and we're going to get to their names in a minute. A hairstylist. It just was all very rude. It was very disrespectful to just go up in there and murder a bunch of people that didn't have anything to do with what you was mad at, and you being mad because you crazy. Because Terry Melcher didn't deserve to be murdered either. He wasn't, but he didn't deserve to be the center of that attention.
Yeah, I hear their names. I see their names.
Yeah, we're going to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
So Sharon was entertaining as she did. Roman was out of town.
As he does, because he worked.
As he does. And he asked a couple people to just come, hang around the house and make sure she all right. She 8.5 months pregnant. So anyway, at the house was Jay Sebring. He was the celebrity stylist, and we will talk about him in just a moment. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Wojciech.
Whoa. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Frykowski. Mr. Frykowski. He was also there, and Abigail Folger, who I just mentioned, was the heiress of the Folger Coffee company. The best part of waking up is Folger in your cup.
Right. Stephen Parent is the last name.
And yes, the young boy, Stephen Parent, who really, really ain't had nothing to do with it. Aside from Sharon Tate living in the house that Terry Melcher and Candace Bergen originally lived in, she, I guess, by proxy was connected. She wasn't, but by proxy, I suppose you could say she was connected.
Right.
The young boy, Stephen Parent, who I think was 18 years old. I can't see. Let me see. I don't think it says right here, but he was young. He was a teenager. He was visiting a friend. I guess they had somebody living in their guest house.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen was visiting that friend. So he really ain't had nothing to do with it. None of them did, but Stephen especially didn't have anything to do with it.
Mm-mm. He just happened to be at the wrong place. Well, actually, everybody.
All of them. Even the baby. Oh, it's crazy. So they were at the house, and of course, they were murdered. We don't have to get into the details and how they were murdered, because that's just not. It's a lot.
Here's a little bit that said that Manson knew that Melcher had moved and still did that.
Shut up.
Uh-huh. Someone from, because Manson or someone from his organization left a note on Terry's porch in Malibu.
Well, maybe they
So
thought he had two houses. I'm not understanding why.
he did have two houses. It's just that Manson sent them to the house that he knew of.
I mean, but what? I just don't understand. I don't understand any of it.
There's nothing to understand because it is too far out.
It really is. It just don't make no sense.
Beyond comprehension.
So let's briefly talk about Jay Sebring. Jay Sebring was a celebrity hairstylist.
Mm-hmm.
He was 35 years old when he was gravely murdered. And he's the one who was dead on the lawn outside.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out that. Didn't no neighbors hear no murder going on? Because Stephen Parent, the young boy, he was in the garage. Now, garages, from what I know, in the 2000s, echo.
Yeah, because of the doors are aluminum and that helps, and the floors are
Concrete.
usually covered.
So Stephen was shot 4 times. Didn't none of the neighbors hear no gunshots? I understand that we're talking about big houses. We're talking about mansions.
Right.
But somebody done got murdered on the front yard, the front lawn. And somebody done got shot up in the garage and nobody heard.
Now that this over here say that he used to go with Sharon Tate though.
He did. And that was confusing to me. I don't want to be in. Shut up.
We have some sound like they responded.
He used to go with her, and that's confusing to me. I don't.
Your husband out of town, you pregnant, but your man there?
Well, ex-man.
We guess.
But see, I don't want to give too much accusatory. I don't want to accuse nobody. They was murdered.
They was murdered. I mean, no matter whatever else they was doing, they didn't deserve that.
Let's cut them a break. But I don't know if they were. I don't know.
They weren't home alone. It wasn't just the two of them.
Right. So I don't know if it was a secret affair going on or anything like that.
They may have gotten it all together and they just, they was cool.
Right.
Some people do that.
And that's what I,
go together no more.
That's what I have heard, was that he was cool with Roman and Sharon, and they was just cool.
Right.
Now, my mind, when I hear hairstylist and man, I automatically think some,
Well, like I say now, the first and only man I ever worked with in a salon was not gay. He about had us scared to death. He was running them girls too tough. That's why we only worked with one. He was the first one and the last one because he had too much go. We were scared the wife was gonna come in. Which girl are they finna start fighting and cutting up? Will we have to call 911?
Terrible.
Sometimes, people have a flair. I mean, people are just good at certain things.
Yeah.
But then when you add, as my mama would call it, a whole demon.
She would say that.
Why are you getting all of us involved? We just trying to do a little work, curl a few, put a few curls,
bumps, curls, all of that. Yeah.
Press it, trying to get it right so we can go and buy lunch, pay the light bill, the mortgage. And here you are, chasing these women up and down these streets. I can't do it.
In your very own salon. Crazy.
Yeah.
Got you scared at your place of business.
Exactly. And then when he did not renew his license, we said, well, you can't work here without your license renewed. And he didn't do it timely. He said, well, we have to let you go.
You and your hoes, everybody got to go. So yes, Sebring was a stylist. Right. And he actually popularized the idea that maybe we should wash men's hair before we cut it. And maybe we should cut it with scissors instead of just clippers. and maybe we should use a blow dryer.
I guess what by the time I went to school, that's what we were doing.
That was the standard.
Well, thank you, sir.
When I went to school 20 some years after you went to school, that's just the standard.
Somebody come in, you shampoo, and then you go on with it.
Get your scissors and you cut their hair. You know, if they white.
If they white.
Black men, you can get away with doing the whole cut with clippers. But white men, a lot of the time, you get your scissors and you snip it up.
And see, well, when I was in school, I don't think I had any white guys that I used clippers with. I only use clippers on black guys.
Right. But apparently that was not the standard before Mr. Sebring got that thing together.
Well, we glad. Just put some wad on it. It ain't gonna hurt.
I'm trying to see what year, if it says what year he popularized it. I know it says in 1967, he opened the company Sebring International to franchise his salons and sell his hair products.
So I used his stuff before?
That's the Mr. J. Sebring. God rest his soul.
Honey, yes, I have used his stuff before.
Because he was the standard for doing hair. It says at a time when barbers charged $1 to $2 for a haircut, Sebring charged $50 and more.
So that would be the grand now.
He was doing Warren Beatty. Is it Beatty?
Beatty.
Warren Beatty. We do this every time. We do it every time.
There was a girl on TV. I know she has to be your age or younger, and she said something about Warren Beatty. I said,
because it's Beatty. That would be Beatty. BEAT is what?
We don't care. It's Beach, but his name is Beatty.
I guess if that's what his mama told him. Anyway, he was doing Warren Beatty, Steve McQueen. He flew regularly to Vegas every 3 weeks to cut Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra.
So he was doing it. If he could, Sammy and Sinatra.
Did it up. And that is Mr. J.
Wait a minute. At Kirk Douglas's request, Sebring did the hair for the movie Spartacus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he did the Doors hit artist Jim Morrison, who is a part of the 27 Club, God rest his soul. He did his free-flowing style.
Yeah.
And Jim Morrison, when you think of him, when I think of him, I think of his hair. That was Mr. J. Sebring, God rest his soul.
J. Sebring, I helped your empire after you, long after your death.
Long after. Long. But yes, he is the man who was found deceased on the front lawn. So not only did Sharon Tate, one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood, pass away, but we also lost other important people.
Right, because what if he would have gotten to, live out his life?
What if all of them had gotten to live out their lives,
Wow, there's so many possibilities that could have been for them.
Yep. All the good movies we could have had with Sharon Tate, probably Sharon's son after it was born, he was born, he's a baby, right. And he has ownership, personship. Mm-hmm. After he was born, he might have been
that personship. Yeah,
right. Boy. He might have been an actor, he might have been a director, he might have been a producer, like he could have just been anything. And
could have been an architect and built
a doctor.
Hollywood.
Right.
Never know.
And Abigail Folger was set to receive lots of money from y'all drinking her coffee.
And I think I had some this morning, just this very morning.
Because we are a Folger family.
Mm-hmm. Some of us. Now your grandmother has gone to ordering something online. It's not for.
Oh yeah, she's fancy. But my great grandparents and my parents.
Yeah, we still doing a little Folger. Yeah. And I really kind of want me some Jamaican blue coffee.
Okay, well, who's stopping you? The memory of Abigail?
Let me see. Good job, man.
So yes, we lost a lot of good people for no reason, just because this man was mad at somebody who wasn't even at the house. It just don't make no sense.
And I've, you know, when I was watching the little movie, like I said today,
Mhm.
When Terry Melcher kind of blew him off in his mind,
Right.
I felt like things were going to be ugly, and they did. It was all about love and living on the street and eating out of garbage cans. Before that,
Not me. But you see, he had. Did he had like one black guy in the group? I think one time, and then the black guy left.
he said, "Look at here."
But you know, he's racist. He was very racist. So I don't
But
know.
yeah,
Maybe he didn't have. Maybe that was a different cult leader that had a
maybe.
black guy.
But you know, because he felt like black people needed his help to help them after the revolution, because they was gonna revolt, but then they needed him.
That was so crazy. That's what's crazy to me. You think that we are gonna all band together and revolt, but somehow us getting together and coming up with a revolt, we still so stupid that we
And we gonna
need
go and find a white fella.
Charles Manson.
That is strange. A strange white fella.
You think, oh yeah, we all gonna get together and we gonna kill all the white people in the world. But then when we see Charles Manson, we really gonna beg him to
This is our white savior.
yeah. No, Charles, it's just
Not the
ignorant.
one who lives out in the yard and has dumpster raids.
Eating
Not
out
that
the
one.
trash. Got the biker boys coming over to the house to sleep with the women in the house. It was just so much going
Racist
on.
and sexist.
Just so much going on.
Mhm.
Child.
It's
Anyway,
foolishness. And these poor girls out here going just whatever he says. We do what Charlie says.
because they were children. And that's the thing. These
running
people,
away from home. They're picking up runaways and stuff.
and that's why you don't run away.
You'll find you a Manson. You better stay at the house and work it out.
And now look at you. You done murdered somebody and you going to jail.
And when the little girl that was, I think the movie that I watched today was 2018. One of those girls that they focused on was still in jail. And yeah.
And she needs to be.
Yeah. And it took her a while to that brainwashing to go away.
And that's where I wonder about, like, am I mad at them or am I mad at them and Charles? I mean, am I mad at Charles or am I mad at them and Charles? Because like they were children.
I'm mad at Charles because Charles took advantage of these children.
I mean, yes, we 100% mad at Charles. That's not up for debate.
And
but
he repetitively, scripted this line of thinking that they had to subscribe to be with him. And initially it was about love, which is, I mean, we talk about that as it relates to gangs and to, other groups of people who leave their families.
And people in families.
Yeah, and sometimes people in families. But they were looking for love, and they got an idiot who thought, who ran the line that, he was right up there with Jesus.
Well, he said he was. He was Jesus. He said he was God.
I'm not repeating that.
But I'm just telling you what he said.
I ain't repeating it.
I mean, God knows that I'm not saying that he was God.
Thank God.
But anyway, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm mad at only Manson or if I'm mad at those people who enacted these violent acts for listening to him.
Well, and like in the story I keep referring to today, was they realized after some time, it was years before they realized that they had been programmed, that what they did was basically for nothing.
Duh.
But they were, as long as the cult girls were in close proximity to each other, generally, for that initial time, they kept feeding each other the script. And of course, it took them longer to break
deprogram
the babies.
But I want to be mad at them, so I'm gonna go ahead and be mad at them.
I feel so sorry for them. because that's a parent's worst nightmare, that your child gonna get off somewhere and get with the wrong people and start going with a crazy script.
Well, not me. So
Well, I mean, you're bigger than they are. You'd have made it past the completely dumb age.
we know people who have been my age and older who just don't know no better. We know people who have been terribly sheltered. They get out in the world and then they find out that the world ain't what they thought it was. And then they find some man or something.
Yeah, sometimes a woman, just depends. If it could be same sex, it could be, but it's the personality. It's not the sex, it's the personality. They find that personality that'll drag them in.
They find a dominant somebody that just beats them down. But
yeah,
usually
you do see that a lot. You do see that along the way.
But usually they don't have them murder a bunch of people for no reason.
No, that's unusual.
That's not how that goes generally.
That's not normal.
That's not.
I mean, it's sadly, having that dominant personality that kind of has you going a certain way is kind of normal. But the extreme of it that Charles Manson went to is not normal.
It is not. Not. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the Tate section of the murders.
Yeah, God rest her soul. She didn't deserve that.
She did not. She did not. And rest everybody else's souls.
All
that,
the people.
Everyone
all of
that was
people.
there, that was murdered. Not just everybody that was there. What?
I was just the part I forgot about that. They wrote pig on the door with Sharon Tate's blood.
Yes.
Y'all doing too much.
Because they wrote pig to try to blame it on the Black Panthers because they were trying to create a race war. Yeah. I actively steered away from talking about the blood and the gore aspects of it just because
it was a lot of it. But that part, that was just like, really? So you are leading these people around almost blindly because you have no connection to the outside world. You have it's nothing but Charles. But you're smart enough to set them up in a world where race is a true issue to get more people killed, not just the people that you had killed in this house, but to get more people killed. Because of course you really don't care how many Black people get killed. That's not an issue for a person like that. Just crazy.
But what's crazier to me is the thought that they tried to pin it on the Black Panthers and the police just never believed it was the Black Panthers. And that's great. When you are in America and you can't blame Black people for a crime, you've done it all wrong. The colored people didn't get arrested for your crime. You did it bad.
You did the crime bad.
You did it real, real bad. For them not to eat, they didn't pick up a single colored person for these crimes.
This is not a colored activity. We don't believe this is a colored activity.
This is not the Blacks.
It's not the Asians. It's not whoever else we don't like. This was some white people stuff.
And they trying to manipulate us.
See, got my eye.
We can tell that this was not. When you cannot get Black people wrongfully accused, you have done the crime all wrong. I could go outside right now as a Black person. I could go outside and find another Black person and tell the police, hey, this Black person did something. They would take him to jail or her. So for you not to be able to get the Black folks in trouble, the Black Panthers who the cops hated,
okay,
you couldn't get them arrested. You did it wrong.
Demilitant and feeding people.
How dare
they? Too much. Why don't you just feed people and stop talking?
They didn't want people fed either.
They didn't want them fed.
Let's be honest. They didn't want them fed. And they still don't today. But anywho,
Excuse me. I had a good cough in there going.
I hear. So that was the Tate murders. If you want, we can go over the LaBianca murders, or we can do that next time. It's up to you.
Yeah, we can do that next time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that was once again Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, Stephen Parent, Wojciech. I mean no disrespect, but I just don't know how to say his name.
No.
Frykowski, Abigail Folger, and Paul Richard Polanski was gonna be the baby, his name. So rest in peace to them. And fly high in the arms of an angel. Fly away. I don't know how to I don't know what to do here. Because we just talked about something horrific. I don't know how to end it.
Absolutely horrific. God rest the family hearts.
Baby, them hearts. The family probably did by now. It's been 50 years.
It's been 50 years. They've been dead too.
Yeah. Well, which is why I don't say, we praying for the family, because the family, honey, they fine.
They may have brothers and sisters or somebody that's still here. Let me Sebring. Now he was born in 33, so he's still younger than he would have been younger than my grandparents.
Yeah. And Sharon Tate was just a little bit older than your parents.
Mm-hmm. She right in there with my daddy.
Let's see real quick. She was the eldest of 3 daughters. So rest in peace. And if the sisters are still living, we are so very sorry for the loss 50 years ago of your beloved sister. And if any of the family members of the rest, the other members of the other murdered people, I don't know how to do this. If anyone is still living, we truly our hearts go out to you.
And your story is worth telling.
Very much so. And we love you. Come on over to the church. We'll pray with you.
Honey, the doors of the church are open.
Yeah, we'll sit with you in prayer. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that was this episode. We'll be back for the next episode
of Tuesday. What kind of Tuesday?
True Crime Tuesday.
True Crime Tuesday.
All right. Thanks so much.